October 1962. The world stood on the brink of annihilation. In the dark, icy waters off Cuba, a Soviet submarine glided silently beneath the waves. Inside, a single man's hands hovered over the controls that could ignite a global war. One wrong move, and billions could be lost. This is the story of the soldier who held humanity's fate in his hands and chose restraint when it mattered most. It was October 27, 1962. The world held its breath. Half a planet away, in the dark, cold waters off the coast of Cuba, a Soviet submarine floated silently beneath the waves, carrying enough firepower to ignite a chain reaction that could have ended life as we know it. Above, Washington and Moscow were locked in a tense game of brinkmanship. Every move, every decision could tip the scale into total annihilation. Inside that submarine, a young Soviet officer named Vasily Arkhipov faced a choice few of us could even imagine. The sonar screens and pressure gauges were his only companions in the deep, claustrophobic metal tube. Outside, the Cuban waters roiled with American ships dropping depth charges, signaling an attack. Every thump against the hull was a warning. Every alarm was a reminder. One wrong move, and the world would erupt in nuclear fire. The orders were clear. If attacked, the submarine was authorized to launch its nuclear torpedoes. And yet, launching meant certain retaliation from the United States. A retaliation that would have escalated within minutes into World War III. Vasily held the fate of millions in his hands, and no one on the surface could see what was happening in that underwater coffin. Historians later described it as the closest humanity has ever come to total destruction, but in that moment, it came down to a single human decision. A single act of courage. Vasily refused to authorize the launch. He argued, debated, pleaded with his commanding officers, and ultimately convinced them to surface, to await orders from Moscow instead. The world did not explode. Millions lived another day. What strikes me most is that Vasily's heroism was quiet, invisible. Almost nobody knew his name. He returned to the Soviet Navy, continued his service, and died decades later, largely unrecognized. Yet in that small, suffocating vessel beneath the Caribbean, he became a guardian of life itself, a single human heartbeat holding back catastrophe. Experts in nuclear strategy often say that the Cold War was a dangerous dance, filled with near misses and errors. But the story of Vasily Arkhipov reminds us that history is not written solely by treaties, policies, or armies. Sometimes it is written in the courage, judgment, and humanity of one person standing against the inevitable tide. Imagine the weight of that choice, the knowledge that a single finger could end the world. And yet, it is in that impossible pressure, in that moment of pure human responsibility, that Vasily chose life over destruction. His story is not just a lesson in history, it's a meditation on the power of conscience, on the fragile thread that separates chaos from order. Today, as we look back, it is tempting to reduce the Cuban Missile Crisis to politics, maps, and strategy charts. But if we want to truly understand it, we must look closer, into the submarine, into the mind of a man who chose to say no when the world demanded a yes. We must remember that history, for all its grandeur, is sometimes held in the hands of the quiet, the brave, and the overlooked. And maybe that's the most human lesson of all. That one person, acting with courage and reason in the face of unimaginable pressure, can hold back the darkness. One life, one choice, and a world saved from fire.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share.